You are listening to the Kelly Confidential podcast with Kelly Wilkes. This is episode 39. Welcome to the Kelly Confidential Show, where we talk negotiation essentials and those crucial conversations empowering extraordinary women. Real women, real issues. Let's jump in. Hi friends, and welcome back. I hope you're all well and healthy and out there fighting the good fight. So we're just going to jump straight in today. Our show today covers a topic that should be near and dear to every founder's heart, customer service, because no amount of negotiation training can fix your business if your customer service stinks. And here's what prompted this topic today. My dog Annie. She's a regular contributor to my podcasts, as owning a dog provides all kinds of metaphors for life and business, and she keeps me grounded. What you may not know is that she's getting on in years. We think she's probably about 11 or so. Not sure because she was an unchipped Romanian street dog rescue. Anyway, she has degenerative arthritis, but also elbow dysplasia, which is it's an abnormality where the bones didn't really grow together properly, and it's exacerbated by old age and the arthritis, and it creates a lot of pain every time they put pressure on the joint, which is essentially with every step she takes. The result is that she has a prominent limp. She struggles to get up really any stairs, especially into the car, and she's in a lot of pain. So late last year, I was referred to a specialist vet clinic about 40 minutes away where we've had scans, 3 assessments, different injections into her joints, really experimenting with options to try and ease the pain and give her a better quality of life. Now, Annie is about the size of a small German Shepherd, mostly white with a bit of brown, and I think she looks, a bit like a small polar bear. She's adorable, and she's otherwise happy in life. Loves going in the car, sitting in the garden, and most evenings she loves rolling around with Whiskey, the dog, not the drink. And so she's not showing signs that it's the end or anything like that. And I love this dog, so it's important that she has some reasonable quality of life for the rest of her years. Whether that's another 12 months or 3 years, it needs to be good or as close to it as possible. And standing for her seems miserable. She's, just in a lot of pain. So we went back to the specialist a few weeks back to say the expensive injections weren't doing anything for her. And in fact, she was limping more and struggling to get in the car more than usual. So he then prescribed more expensive meds and sent us on our way. And literally nothing has changed. She's miserable. I'm miserable worrying about it. So I called the specialist a week ago and asked if he could call me. In fact, it was just over a week ago. I wasn't interested in hauling her across Berkshire for another expensive visit for more drugs. I wanted a real plan, a solid plan B, and I wanted to talk about it over the phone. They've got all the scans. They don't need to take any other tests. So what is the plan B? Treatments for her condition can include things like stem cell injections, surgery, etc. Anyway, here we are, nearly 10 days later, and no call. No call. So I rang them again first thing this morning to see how do I proceed here, expecting that they would apologize and say, the vet missed it on accident and that he'd call me later today. Instead, I was told that I was on the list. And he was out of the office, and he'd call me when possible, but the list is long, and they couldn't really say when that would be. Wait, what? You mean your sole service is helping sick and injured dogs to feel better, thus making their owners feel better? I have a very poorly dog who is now living on paracetamol, similar to aspirin for the American listeners, can't stand for more than a few minutes, and is declining in front of my eyes. My worry is that she'll injure the leg further and come up lame, and this isn't a dog I can carry. Anyway, so yeah, 10 days. So I queried this back to the receptionist and said, really, is that what you mean? That there's no minimum callback period like 48 hours, and it really is an obscure best endeavors that could be tomorrow, Friday, next week before he gets to where I am on this list? Her answer, yes. I couldn't believe it. I told her that I know it's not her fault or her policy, but I would have preferred that she just lied to me. Just lie to me and say that he'd simply forgotten, not that the clinic had such a subpar follow-up policy. I asked her to please pass on to her management that this was really poor customer service. And she asked, do you still want him to call you? Really? So that was the inspiration for our show today. How important is customer service to you as a business provider? How about as a consumer? Pretty vital, isn't it, that you leave your customers raving about their experience with you? But don't take my word for it. Here are some stats from consumers taken over the last 3 years post-COVID. Here we go. According to a 2023 study by Business Wire, more than half of consumers, 53% according to this report, will cut spending with that provider after a single bad experience. No second chances, they simply won't go back. The study was conducted across 23 countries and 23,000 consumers, and it estimated that poor customer service amounted to a whopping $4.7 trillion in lost revenues globally, where that customer simply decided not to buy that product or service again at all. That's sobering if ever there was a statistic you want to remember. Here's another customer behavior study taken last year where they found that 89% of respondents switched to a competitor following a bad experience. So in this scenario, the consumer was prepared to buy again. This may be for a provider of more established products or services in the market, but they took their money elsewhere. Why? Because they didn't feel valued in their last investment. And here's yet another. The Nextivia research team found that over 2/3, so nearly 70% of respondents, said a positive customer experience trumped the quality of the advertising or sales channel. So they might in fact ignore the sales messaging, the promos you get when you buy online or those red sales banners when you walk into a store. They might ignore all of that and not be motivated by that if the overall customer engagement experience was positive and they felt valued. I've included a list of other consumer statistics in the show notes, including a link to the Newsweek 2024 Consumer Retail Ranking, which is a huge database that shows by sales channel the top shop names and rankings. It's pretty interesting data, so be sure to check that out. Anyway, the obvious fix to all of this is better customer service, right? But what if you're a smaller organization with limited staff and resources? Maybe you're a private practice or small business. How can you make a difference to improve the experience for your customers? Here are 3 easy and cost-effective ways to win your customer over and keep them. Number 1, make sure you have a clear mission and that mission's heart and core is about creating a smiling customer every time. How do you achieve that? You can have any mission statement about your business, but to create a winning outcome and smiling customer every time means you must create value for that experience. Let me repeat, create value for their experience. They must think and feel that they got their money's worth and more. The more comes in the form of the value. You should show them value beyond the core service and the core purchase. This leads to point 2. You achieve the value satisfaction by making your customers feel welcome every time. You make it clear that you appreciate the patronage. There's a reason why the John Lewis department store in the United Kingdom and Bloomingdale's and Nordstrom's in the US continually rank in the top spots for discerning shoppers, and why those shoppers choose to pay more. It's because the customer service is so good, exceptional in many cases. Their staff are well invested in, they're well trained, and enthusiastic. Need a hand finding something? Just ask them. And most times they won't say, oh, it's over there, it's in that corner, or it's on aisle 5. No, they will take you over there to make sure you found the thing you need to buy and will check if you need anything else. That's great customer service. And rarely will you find their customer service agent standing idly by the register or waxing away about their night out, because they're usually busy tidying or stocking shelves or helping the customers at the checkout, which, by the way, are always monitored to make sure the lines don't get much past 4 or 5 deep. They're taught to serve and provide value. And here's the third and final way to win your customer over and keep them. Follow up. So simple. You don't need a complex model. You don't need to hire a specialist to create a complex algorithm for attracting customers. Simply call them, email them back, thank them for coming into your shop. I go to this great little Moroccan restaurant in my village. It's called Mimo. By the way, it's spelled Meimo. Definitely try it next time you're in Windsor. And the owner there, a very sweet and smiley and energetic family man called Abdul, always greets me so warmly, always comes to the table to say hello, and always waves and yells friendly greetings if I walk past. And he does this with other regulars. I've seen it. He's so welcoming and friendly. And even when he was forced to raise his prices after COVID, I continued to go to his restaurant and sometimes get takeaway just for myself, because his shop stands out and makes a difference in my village, where we're overrun with tourists 9 months of the year, and where many of the high street restaurants provide mediocre service at best because they're always full with unsuspecting tourists who will keep them busy irrespective of the service they get. Mimo's is different, and I really want his business to be successful. Here are other ways to follow up. Send them a nice thank you card if they've just bought a new product or service from you, because they were effectively your guinea pigs, so reward them for taking a chance on you. Send them a special discount card as a thank you to be used the next time they're shopping, or invite them to a special existing customers only pre-release. And did I say? Oh yeah. Call them back. Call your customer back. So simple. Because the consequence of not calling them back could mean lost revenue from that customer forever. As for my experience with this specialist vet, well, I've already asked my primary vet to refer my dog Annie to another specialist because, it's simply unacceptable to be waiting over a week for a callback. Extraordinary that they think this is a good business model. There were so many things that they could have employed to just reach out and let me know that I was still front and center, a priority, some sort of text messaging, anything that says, we're sorry for the delay. We hope Annie's doing okay. We'll be in touch as soon as possible, something. But there was nothing. Again, extraordinary if they think this is a viable customer service model. Not if you want to stay in business. Come to think of it, there were usually only a couple of us in the waiting room when we were seen previously, and appointments seemed reasonably easy to book in. Unlike their competitor, who was a further 7 miles away, who was more difficult to get in for an appointment, as I found when this all started late last year. But perhaps that's a sign that their competitor's good at what they do. I'm prepared to drive those extra 7 miles to find out. Moral of the story, if you've had a bad experience and it's a purchase that's important to you, either tell them directly about your unhappiness, as I did, or simply switch providers. Don't wait. It's one of the most effective indicators of customer success or failure. Taking your business elsewhere is a clear message of a need to change, and the message will land. Want a few additional resources to help you win your customers over? 2 great books I can recommend. Raving Fans by Ken Blanchard. It's an oldie but a goodie. And a newer one, but you'll love this one. It's called Enchantment by Guy Kawasaki. They're terrific. Really must read them. Both links are in the show notes. Now go out there and smash it with the best customer service you can provide. Leave them smiling. That's all from me today. Until next time.